I mean, it does feel like they're probably going to run the mid lash, but at the same time, we said that last time around, and then, In Your Dream just takes it into the safe lane. Still very flexible for the side of GXR, and you do kind of get the inkling that maybe they want something different for Alacrity here, and just run that very similar strategy of just, you're not going to be able to keep up with us 10 minutes into the game. We're just going to run you down and take all your towers, and you're going to have nowhere to farm.
Yeah.
They'll go for the TB.
It's a safe bet. There is a lot of magic damage on SMG's end, though. They've got the line to clear out illusions with a finger for the damage, and they've got the Lina with the Laguna. So they've got the dual kind of nukes on those two heroes to burst this terribly down fast. They don't really have a saving support to keep In Your Dream safe as well, so he's going to have to watch for himself. I think he's going to need a quick BKB this game to help him in the front lines. Maybe a third or second item pickup. BKB if he wants to join these fights, stalling out some of the other mid-game items. Or if he's feeling confident, he could just ignore it. Like, as long as GXR protects the Terrorblade, I guess they can just play around that. SMG have to watch themselves. It's Luna versus Terrorblade. You've seen this multiple times before. Now, the last time we saw it, it did work in GXR's favor with their Luna, as they play a pace that T1 couldn't match.
But that's In Your Dream.
Yeah, that was In Your Dreams, Luna. And for SMG, GXR had a backup, right, of the rest of their lineup also being able to push. And SMG's side, not quite ramping up that way. They go with a Brewmaster here, likely just our KP hero now on the offlane. Now, KP's probably one of the best Brewmasters. It's a hero that he always performs on. He will have to really work hard to shut down that Terrorblade farm. Like, the Brewmaster contributes a lot in team fights, does not add to the push. And I think that's what I'm looking for from SMG, because GXR knew how to buy space for Luna. And they knew that they had to melt early objectives, look for the high ground, and have everyone pile on their push potential. Right now, the Luna right-click and Lina right-click's nice. It doesn't really compare to Leshrac, to a DK, to a Terrorblade with Metamorphosis. The push from GXR is still a little bit better here.
That's a lot better, in my opinion, John. It's not even close in comparison. I think they've just got to be able to kind of weather the storm, right? Like that. After that 10-minute mark, once you get past that laning stage, it starts to look very dangerous from SMG, right? Like, you've got to be very careful about where this Leshrac is, where the DK is. Maybe not so much In Your Dreams Terrorblade, because the likelihood is he's going to be sitting in the jungle farming, as every Terrorblade does. But every other hero, you've just got to be very wary of where they are, because we have seen this many, many times from this team. They just love to run you down, and it's a very kind of snowbally draft that they run. That can be very hard to put up with throughout that mid-game. So last picks are coming out. It does seem like GXR, they're looking for maybe a support pickup. SMG, it's still in question as to what they want. Do they want an offlane? Do they want a mid? Are they going to run the offlane Brewmaster for KP and maybe run the support Lina instead of the mid Lina? It's all up in the air, but they're going to go for a Zeus pickup. Which is, I suppose, one way to deal with the TB. Just ignore all that armor and have all this magic damage, and obviously when you're dealing with Enchantress DK as well, it does do really great work, because that magic damage doesn't care for the Untouchable, and doesn't care for the Dragon's Blood. So it makes sense, but it is very susceptible to a Blink DK stun. It just feels like you get blown up if you get stunned once.
Yeah, and it's a really quick tempo for SMG. I think if you start to lag behind in the Zeus, you're definitely not going to get as much priority over Luna in terms of catch-up farm, so you do have to secure that good time here. For GXR, I think they could flex the Leshrac as a support. Let's say Enchantress 5, Leshrac 4 with the DK. That's your dual stun lane on the off lane. You could go something else mid. Now, that is a bit greedy, mind you, but if they feel like their matchups don't work out here with either Zeus or Lina, and they can still swap it around. The damage output of SMG, as you mentioned, is really good, though. Like, this time around, I think the Terrorblade might have to really prioritize that early BKB, or even, I don't know about that, but even an early Hood of Defiance just to sustain sounds good.
Like that pick.
They do go with the clock, so they kind of commit to their Tricore of Leshrac DK. Terrorblade, the clock, can jump and answer that Zeus. He can isolate the Zeus, he can isolate the Lina, isolate the line even, as you love to say that Clockwork just runs up to line and prevents anything from happening.
Oh,
so you've got solid lanes from GXR to play with. Yeah, you can just isolate the back line, prevent the magic damage from coming through, get all the attention for your team, and allow them to clean up. SMG, And they're running that mid Zeus. They do have the support Lina for Afu, so it's the Brewmaster Lina lane, which you also love to point out. Cinder Brew plus all the magic spells on Lina can ignite and just get a lot of magic damage on that Terrorblade early on. That is one way to manage that lane. They just have to put the work in and prevent themselves from losing too many objectives in the first 20 minutes.
No, absolutely. It's going to be a rather interesting game too, but John, I'll ask you the hard question. Do you think SMG's done enough with this draft to pull off a tie here between them and GXR, or do you expect GXR to go 4-0 today?
I think I'd lean towards GXR still. I think In
Wow.
Your Dream Terrorblade is really scary. SMG's lanes do look good, and their damage output's really good. They have to play fast. Like, maybe mid one just sits back in form, but everyone else has to be ready to jump. KP has to be ready to always use that primal split to secure the kills, and they need to just prevent that push. Now, with a Zeus, it's very easy to de-push these waves. I think that's what they're going to have to rely on. I'm keen to see how GXR responds to the piling of magic damage here, whether or not Mizu is going to rush, say, an unorthodox build, maybe a pipe rush, to just ensure that they don't get bursted down that fast. I think you will need a pipe. You will need maybe a couple of glimmer capes just to spread some magic reduction around. But once you have a couple of those up, the Zeus, the Lina, even the Lion, and the Luna to an extent don't feel as scary, and you can ride it out into the BKBs, which it starts to become really manageable. So I think GXR, they still have that early push going. They worry about the burst, but even if the game, say, drags on, Terrorblade versus Luna, that's still a matchup I'd favor the Terrorblade on if it goes ultra late.
Yeah, and I think with the DK as well, I don't know if you bother with the pipe, honestly, because if you get the Blink Dagger early on, you could just jump and burst down the Zeus, like I mentioned earlier. It's kind of like, do you want to go down the pipe route and be a little bit safer, or would you rather get the Blink and just really start being aggressive with this DK? We'll see what GXR decides on. I mean, either way, I think it's a good option, but I'm personally leaning towards the Blink because it's more exciting than a pipe, John. Pipes are boring.
Definitely is a lot more boring, a lot more passive. That means you're just going to be playing a farm game. They dropped the ward right as KP was dancing around, so he knows that there's vision now, as he was dancing in that same spot without the ward.
Right.
They should be able to get the D ward. They've got the Zeus. Moon should be able to handle. They have to deny. Some excitement here, though.
Yeah, Mizu gonna go into mid one. They got a nice impetus shot on mid one, so fair bit of damage being dealt out. He'll turn around for a quick Lucent Beam, but Paulison, he's gonna be more than fine with that. He's an Enchantress. He's happy to take damage. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it does lead to a 3 bounty rune start for SMG. So some initial gold coming out their way. Nice bit of assist, especially to rush that bottle for the mid, if you want to get that done quick. Do see the lane split up. Paulson is hanging around bot with Mizu, as we saw. Raji is there on the line to back up his Luna. And this lane, it can go back and forth. We have seen DKs actually manage Luna well enough, depending if you do go all in and breathe fire or just go for the Dragon Steel stun combos. Important here to get the D-ward off for GXR in the large camp, although Paulson...
Yeah, alright. You're happy to take damage, but not this much damage, Paulison. He's going to try and back now and salves up. Meanwhile, Mizu is going to go onto Rogi and get a substantial amount of damage onto that line as well. They will at least force the salve usage from Paulison, which is going to be quite nice here for SMG. Because over in the mid lane, you've got Moon on that Zeus against Alacrity. And although Moon does have to be careful not to get caught out of position, he should have somewhat of an advantage.
Yeah, he can play with range. Just use the Arc Lightning to clear out creep waves, get some good harassment off. Has the static field for that HP tickle as well every time he casts his spell. So he's going to have to watch. They do get first blood though.
Yeah, they get Paulison. Turns out that salve didn't really do enough. Meanwhile, mid one trying to chase down the courier. Mizu trying to micro it around, but eventually mid one, he is going to be able to find it and get that nice bonus gold for the team. Yeah, first blood, the way of SMG, and it was Rogi that picked it up. So not quite mid one, getting that bonus gold on the Luna. It won't matter too much though. I think just getting that first blood is going to feel quite nice.
Yeah, and it's going to take a few levels for GXR to feel safe here. You want the enchant up, but again, SMG's already blocked out the large camp, so Paulson doesn't have easy access just yet. He's going to have to wait for the next spawn before committing. And Raji's doing a good job of just cutting Paulson off.
Yeah, just keep harassing Paulison, and they do force the heal out. Paula said, generally speaking, you want the enchant impetus, but if you can't get greedy like that, he might just have to go for the heal, and that's exactly what he does. That is going to delay the enchant even further. And it's probably going to make this bot lane a lot more passive for GXR, just trying to secure their own farm up. They do go into Mizzle a little bit, but we'll have a look at the top lane as well, because that's the one lane we haven't looked at yet. It is going to be In Your Dream on the TB and Joe Cam on the Pulse 5 Clockwork. And you've got KP there on his signature Brewmaster. And he's going to be supported by Arfu's Lina. And speaking of that Lina, Joe Cam going to try and get a little bit aggressive here with the Battery Assault, but he didn't really have enough mana to throw out the cogs, so in the end, Arfu, he won't take too much damage.
Yeah, and you can see the state of the lane right now. In Your Dreams, not finding a lot of farm. 9-1 in CS, KP's had 14-10, a lot of denies. You're just so scared of the magic damage. You walk in, you get Cinder Brewed up and clapped. It's a lot. You don't have enough HP on In Your Dream to trade this way.
No, you certainly don't. And that's with Arfu not around. Like, with that combo, Arfu, he just needs to land one Light Strike Array, and that's pretty much a death on In Your Dream. Just quite a devastating offlane combination here from SMG. At least In Your Dream, he'll be able to farm underneath the tier 1 tower for a little bit and try to catch up, but it is certainly going to be a much more difficult start for him. As SMG, they've certainly sorted out their lanes probably a lot better than last game even. Just very, very dominant so far. See if they can keep it up. As Roger, he is going to lose his courier. Bit unfortunate, they did have the brown boots and a set of tangos on it. Mid one, going to take a fair bit of damage here from Mizu, but they won't be able to cancel the salve. He's going to be fine to just run his way out. I suppose GXR, as long as they at least even out of this lane, they'll be happy.
Yeah, I mean, mid one is still farming pretty darn good. I think that's the big issue. Like, Mizu's not clearing out these creep waves. He doesn't have Breed Fire, and again, without enchant, you can't go for the combo stuns with your Enchantress just yet. Paulson, he does have his large camp here that he's stacking up. Maybe he could get a nice creep to play with. The Hellbear Smasher could be good. He does go with a Ripper. We'll just opt to get some stable farm. So he's not being punished for playing slightly more in the jungle in terms of building up. And you're at the point where the DK can solo lane. So you're just looking for that steady EXP build-up on the side of GXR. The lead, despite the CS disparity, isn't that big for SMG. Less than 1k early on. No big commitments just yet, no support rotations. You're just looking to outplay each other in the side lanes, get a solid start, although down mid.
Yeah, that's a nice pickup if they can get it. Alacrity, though, he had stick charges. He's going to try and fight back with the Split Earth. It doesn't land on anyone. Is it going to matter? He does get one. He almost found Moon. Had that stun landed, he would have gotten a double. But Moon barely gets away. Will survive, but he has to still be careful because Polison's coming in with an enchanted creep. Looks like Moon did see it with that Observer Ward in the jungle, and we'll back off at the right time.
Yeah, it's a little scary spot that your commitment still ends up giving Alacrity just a little bit. You're still happy about getting that kill, though, as you get the EXP, but Alacrity gets to leave lane. He's going to start to be active on the sides now.
Yeah, he wants to try and help out In Your Dream by going after KPs. They get the Pulse Nova off and the Edict. They land the stun. Not quite, but KP's still in a lot of danger. Not quite enough, though, because Moon's here to try and help out. And Alacrity, he might die a secondary time, and he does. Arfu gets him with the Dragon Slave. And that was a TP from the Leshrac as well, so he's going to have to make the Walk of Shame back into the lane.
Yeah, that's just too forward. He didn't land a stun, and the KP just juking out was big. They didn't wait for Metamorphosis on In Your Dream either. And they had no supports to back up. So, a very greedy play coming out from Alacrity. Does get punished nicely from SMG. SMG looking to shape up really well in the first 10 minutes of this game. 3-1, 1k lead going their way. They have not really been pressured all too hard in any lane. They're really starting to build their farm up. And GXR has to be really careful when they take these sorts of fights. Like, they can't afford to bleed out this early on. In Your Dream struggling on the Terrorblade, as you'd expect for the most part. He needs catch up in the jungle. Alacrity did have to go for a 2-1-2 build. So his Edict isn't up and running to the point where a push can just safely come out. He's going to need to get some levels up and still build up in that farm before looking for those towers.
Yeah, I mean, Moon's certainly got a massive advantage over this left rack right now. Top lane, Joe Cam going to be in danger. They got the Cinder Brew to ignite. There's going to be a Metamorphosis out from In Your Dream, and he's going to try and protect, but the Thunder God's Wrath is there. Moon will take another kill, and now bot lane. They even clear out Polison. So they just keep finding more and more kills across the map. And so far, this mid Zeus pickup is really paying off for SMG.
Really is. They're not able to punish it just yet. We're still waiting for probably the blink on Mizu for it to come out, and his level 6, of course. It's still a long way down the road till that's going to be up and running for them to catch that Zeus in the back line. And SMG, they're just able to get a lot more on the map. Like, because of this aggression, GXR is falling behind. Their EXP's not flying out. They can't group up for that push, and they're always under threat.
They are. Chase again, Alacrity. And try and find him. KP's even around. He's got the primal split up, so they could definitely try to go for a big team fight. Even mid one, invading this triangle and just trying to take some farm away. They look to that mid tier 1 tower now, but they don't have the greatest pushing style lineup here on SMG. It's like mid one. He's just going to TP up top lane. They are going after Arfu. It looks like Joe Cam. He's almost got the kill and does get it. In Your Dream, he'll give the tip over to Joe Cam. And mid one not able to find a trade here at this top lane. He doesn't really have the Eclipse mana. And even he could pop the Magic Stick charges, but he doesn't want to waste his time with the clock.
Just going to go for a steady shove out in that tier 1. Luna does have really good right-click damage to chip away at the objectives. You do see GXR clumping bot. They've got the Dragon Form and Mizu. They're going to go for a push with Alacrity as well, going for the tier 1 trade.
Yeah, I mean, they can just go for the easy trade out here.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Maybe a rotation here for Moon. He's going to spot out In Your Dream. Now, he's invis right now, so they don't even know he's behind them. He's going to show now the Sentry Warden. They don't really want to be here anymore, but In Your Dream, he's got nowhere to go. He doesn't have Sunder up either, so he's just going to drop. And now SMG can just smother the side of GXR as Mizu. He's a DK, but he's not that tanky when it comes to having a Zeus on the map. Still trying to get out, but KP's going to have the vision, and Moon will find himself another kill on this Zeus.
Yeah, just good rotations coming out from SMG. They're going to be able to find a tier 1 in the end, and you lose some big heroes in GXR. That's 2 cores gone. 8-2 SMG, just finding everything. Alacrity trying to play poke with Raji, but their TP's coming in.
Yeah, they are. Raji, he's still going to tie, though. He got too close, and now KP, he's got the primal split, but he's going to be careful. He's being blocked by the creep wave, but Alacrity, he's going to turn off the Pulse Nova and just try to run. I think worst case scenario, KP probably would have just popped the ulti if he needed to. Luckily for him, he won't. He'll be able to back to the fountain.
It's not a spell you want to commit that way early on. Just want to be more active. You can see SMG. They're keeping the shove in mid. Afu's just working that Lina now. Just keeping the wave shoved out. GXR, they're even on map control, but you want to be ahead. So once Alacrity's topped up, he does have the travels up. You can show up in a lot of lanes, get the split push going, and try to line up for the push. They really want mid gone. I think the mid tier 1 has to go here for GXR. If they want to lock in and prevent mid 1 from keeping this farm game up, he is still up there in farm along with Moon. So your Luna's having a great time. Of course, has a possessed mask, so you don't even need that morbid mask for the life steal sustain. No problems at all for mid 1 to keep building up. And a smoke out from SMG could find a big target here.
Yeah, absolutely. That Spike not going to reach In Your Dream this time around, so he does manage to get himself out. He needs the space to farm desperately, but SMG, they just continue to run at GXR and make it very uncomfortable to farm that jungle, and now they look towards that mid-tier 1 tower. Polison's around to try and defend. Meanwhile, Mizu, he's shown up, but he does get caught out and immediately gets taken down. And they even got the tornado off onto Polison. Laguna there, Moon will get the kill on the lightning bolt. And GXR still trying to run. Cyclone up. They have the lockdown to really lock down this Lash. It looks like they probably will. There's a hook shot on the backside onto the Zeus, though. They're going to try and make a play onto Moon, and they will get at least the Zeus. So they do finally get something for their trouble. But it is still going all the way the side of SMG.
Money to burn.
Yeah, not a favorable trade at all for GXR, and The best Jocam's doing is buying space out, so they don't get to fully
Radiant's
commit their
top
bodies
tower
for the
is
mid
under
because they're
attack.
chasing the clockwork. That is some time bought out here for GXR to try and stall out. Inner Dream forced to show up though. You can see the gap between Inner
Radiant's
Dream
top
and
tower
Mid 1.
is
Mid 1
under
level
attack.
10, sitting at 5.5k. Inner Dream lagging behind by 2 levels and 500 gold. Needs so much more on the TB before he's ready to commit for these fights. The Yasha's almost up into the BKB rush. You're not going to be able to fight until the BKB, I don't think. You see all the magic damage coming through from SMG. It's just too much. They've got magic on the Lina, magic on the Luna, magic on the Zeus, on the Lion, even a Brewmaster. And you just don't have anything to mitigate it. So GXR, in contrast to how their lineup is, they need to be a bit more patient here.
Top lane, they have found the Luna. Mid one, they have had such a great start to this game. They don't want to start throwing it away now, but mid one's gone. Alacrity looks like he is going to be safe, at least for now, but Arfu, he has the Laguna. He can't get in range, though. The Jocam, he's the only one left behind, and they should be able to secure this kill. Eventually, Jocam, Cogs out. He's going to try and make his way out of this. He does have a TP, but no.
Ooh.
There's your Dragon Slave there from Arfu. They do get the kill. On the brighter side, though, GXR, they got the Luna kill. That's a big deal.
Yeah,
In fact, In Your Dream's ahead of him in terms of net worth.
Yeah, put a dent in the farm of mid one. Alacrity bailing out in the right time as well. Big boon there for GXR. Slight net worth lead going to GXR overall because of that sort of trade. Less than 1k going your way. You see the pings coming out here from KP. They want to go for that mid. While the clockwork's gone. And kind of hold
Radiant's
off from
bottom
GXR.
tower is under
If they
attack.
find this mid, the farm distribution for GXR gets a bit shakier. And your Dream has to play in different spots in the map. They do have the bodies coming forward here for the defense, though. And the respawn is there in our clockwork. He has the hook shot ready. So it's not a very easy committal from SMG as they're just kind of lining up the bodies, but not quite fully going all the way. I don't think you mind too much. You're just back to farming with mid one. I believe his Yash is flying in, Sanj to follow up. There is a smoke play here, though.
There is. Holison might be there to break the smoke, which is going to be a little bit unfortunate here for SMG if that's the case. He won't. They'll get away. There's nobody in the dire jungle either. So no real target for them to get unless Alacrity shows up, and he just made it the exact right time for SMG. It looks like he has. He'll break the smoke, but they have the vision with the observer ward on the cliff. Alacrity, he's going to try and run, but they will eventually get him. Paulison, he's going to show up. They might want to try and trade with the hook shot.
Oh.
Not going to be on target. Arfu, he barely avoids it, and now they can turn to find a secondary kill onto Jocam. They'll get him. Paulison, he'll be the only one to be able to leave that area. That observer ward does end up paying off for
Dire's top
SMG.
tower is under attack.
Really just shutting down Alacrity on this left track.
Yeah, and because of those kills, they get to swing towards that mid lane, take that mid tier 1. GXR, the one blessing is that In Your Dream still farming, has the Yasha, saving up for the BKB. They do manage to catch up Paulson though, but
Dire's middle
He's just a
tower
bit too
is under
tanky on that
attack.
Enchantress. They're still quite desperate to go after that mid tier 1, it looks like. And they should be able to just easily set up for it now. They're going to lose their siege creep though, so they might have to tank it a bit with somebody's body. It's like Mizu's going to stick around within your dream. They might try to force this fight. Glyph is out. Mizu, Spirit Vessel there from KB. Cinderbrew has been ignited as well. The Primal Split is out. Mizu's just trying to back out and find a way out of this situation, but Hookshot is there onto Arfu. They've got the Lina, but Laguna is committed, so he's committed all his spells. Meta is there from In Your Dream, and the Eclipse was popped by mid one. Nobody's dead yet. As Jocam keeps rushing forward, he can't get a target. Meanwhile, KP does kill off Mizu, but Roger in mid one. They're going to end up dying.
yeah, that is not the trade you're looking for on SMG's end. They commit. They split up the fight really well on GXR side. They just get the attention onto Mizu. He already bought out the blink before dying. So he's got the gold, and they're going to be able to transition to a push.
Bit of a TP that's not going to work out there from Alacrity as the creep does end up dying. They still found the mid-tier 1 tower though.
Jocam, he's dead.
Is he? Spirit Vessel's got... No, he's not. He's alright. The heal from
Oh.
Paulison.
It's enough. That was close. That was a lot of commitment from KP. He drained all his Spirit Vessel charges. He's down to 0. No way to mitigate heals until they find a pick off next. And GXR, they just get the turnaround they wanted. Too much focus on SMG to kill off Mizu in the back lines, while the rest of GXR were running forward, getting the bigger kill in the end. Side of SMG, they don't even find that mid-tier 1. Still it stands, they lose their own. GXR suddenly feeling great. Good hook shot here.
Oh, bot lane. May not pan out though. JoeCam, he's going to pop the cogs and try to find a way out. It's like Alacrity's going to be there to back him up anyway, so it's not really that big of a deal. Alacrity right back to the fountain for a reset. JoeCam, he's safe. Just backs out himself. And SMG, I mean, they had a net worth lead going, but now it's all the way of GXR, just barely. But you look at In Your Dreams farm, he's top of the net worth board, and that's going to be a big cause of concern here for SMG now.
Yeah, and we always say this about Luna, but it does feel like it needs an item advantage. You're not finding that just yet. We also lose out in DD. JoeCam in the right spot at the right time to get that first. And the BKB is starting to come online for In Your Dream. He's just lacking, really, the recipe at this point. Once that's up, all this burst damage for the Terrorblade, it's not going to amount to much. The first BKB use from In Your Dream is going to be key for GXR, but they also have the Blink on Mizu, which hasn't really been utilized yet. And they can play around with these tools. SMG, they're invading that top jungle, but no one's playing there. Side of GXR just basically playing bot. They toss Alacrity around on the side lanes, but he's got travels. He doesn't really care too much about this movement. Although,
maybe he does, John. Alacrity, he's been caught. He's going to try to TP, but no, the Primal Split's there and he just goes down. Showing up at the wrong time there for Alacrity, and this might just cost them that tier 2 top tower now. Great news for SMG, but not great news for GXR. They won't really be able to get a trade on these tier 2s either. Their creep wave isn't quite at the bot tier 2 yet. They might try to defend though. Mizu has the blink up, pops the dragon form, wants to try and find a dragon tail. Moon's gonna reveal he's still around the area. Does eventually end up blinking out. It looks like they just forced the rotations out from GXR, and that's gonna be enough.
yeah, I think for GXR's end, holding on to that tier 2 top is pretty important. You don't want to lose the tier 2 early. You don't want to open up Roshan too much for SMG. You can see they already a bit of a scan coming through from SMG. And you hear that Roche pit to see if anyone's trying to chase. No such thing. GXR still maintain that net worth lead. They've stalled out long enough that the BKB for In Your Dream's done. He's got the gold. He's flying out the recipe. Terrorblade's feeling big. They could start to look for fights now on the side of GXR.
That they could. It's a very late minus pick up there from KP. 20-minute minus, in fact, on the Brewmaster. I mean, I guess in the end, like, you still want to get the Aghanim Scepter. So for him, he might just feel like he needs that extra XP and gold to come in from that Midas. But something you don't generally see, though, that's for sure. Usually it's just the straight minus rush these days.
Yeah, he did have to divert for that Spirit Vessel, just to ensure that the Enchantress heal is not going to be as annoying. I think that's really what it boils down to here for KP. He's still going to have the impact, even without the Ags, but you do want to start saving up for it, and it's going to be a long road ahead. So we'll see how that timing for the item is going to line up here. GXR, it looks like they're fairly comfy still playing this farm game. SMG, they've smoked up this tree, but no one playing in the triangle area. The camps are already cleared out. Maybe they could swing around top, though.
Yeah. Oh, In Your Dream, that's a great target. And they're going to get the Hex off immediately into the Light Strike Array and the Laguna. They pop everything and they get him. No BKB is able to be activated as Holison even drops. SMG, are they going to try and pressure the tier 2 mid? It looks like they're going to leave it. They're just happy with the kill onto In Your Dream. That'll be enough for them.
Yeah,
Roshan's up.
They just get to go into Roshan. They've got the damage here on mid 1 with that early Crystal is up. Of course, Clockwork can keep scouting, and there's a smoke play from GXR. And is going to force SMG to think twice about it. They don't have Eclipse. They don't have Thunder Gods for a few more. So it's not the safest fight to take. Let's see if GXR can still find something from the smoke, though.
It's very hard when you've still got this TB down. They're trying to find a straggler. Oh, that would be a nice one. Moon might just show at the bot lane as Mizu's going to show up, but no, he's quite hesitant. Pings are out there. Notice he's there. They'll go for the stun out. Hookshot is going to be there to follow up. There's no TPs coming in. They're going to let this Zeus die, it looks like. But Moon, he has the shards up. He just jumps away. The old Mario jump.
Yeah, just enough to get out. Burst damage not quite there from GXR. And you're going to counter your Lucky Stars. That opens up the Roshan because all the attention's down bot. GXR, they need to keep the vision game, but the flare goes down bot instead. The scan is out. It's not going as fast as you'd want here for SMG. GXR still has an opportunity to take that fight.
It's kind of hard though. JoeCam's nowhere nearby. He has Rocket Flare back up now, but how are you going to make your way into this Roshan pit without the clockwork? It's very low now. They're going to try in your dream with the illusions perhaps. Primal Split is there though, and that's going to make sure that nobody interferes. Mid one, he'll take the first Aegis. Well, he'll go back for the first Aegis of the game. Almost forgot it there for a second. Looks like KP goes hunting. Does find the Terror Blade, but is going to find his way out, I'm sure, and will be just perfectly fine.
Yeah, and GXR, well, they've got to play cautiously now. Like I guess the Luna dying back to back isn't too hard, especially since mid one has no defensive item, no BKB, no Manta to dispel. Should still be able to hold down the Luna to catch her out. It's just that focusing on her twice will buy enough time for SMG to use all their spells to get that magic damage flying around. GXR, I don't think we've seen them really play aggressively with a Blink or BKB yet. Looks like they want to take it slow.
There we go, Rogi is in. He's got Alacrity there, but the Cogs hookshot is out from JoeCam. Rogi should get bursted, and they've got all 4 heroes down. Alacrity, he's just going to pop his BKB and TP. So they rotate the whole side of SMG to make sure they don't get anything further. So now Polison is going to be scouted out. Vessel is there. Moon making his jump in, but Polison with the heals out is going to, again, just be way too tanky. They just can't deal with it. Even with the Spirit Vessel and all the magic damage, he's just too much.
Yeah, I think it was really the Illusion Rune that he managed to grab. The Dispel, removing the slow, removing the Spirit Vessel itself, he became too tanky again. They're trying to clump up bot for tier 1 push, but the defense is coming out here.
Yeah, Mizu's around. Link up, he'll go straight forward in your dream. Gonna go for the reflection and pops the meta mid one. He is dropping real darn fast and looks like he might make it 20 HP, but no, the rocket flare. They'll get the first life, and that probably means the secondary to come. Stun? No, it's off the mark. They don't land it, but it won't matter because Mizu's there with the Dragon Tail. They'll get the kill onto more Fu. He just melts, and Rogi, he's no luckier. 3 down for the side of SMG, trying to go after that bottom tier 1 tower, and they're looking for more. Well, at least Polison is. This creep wave is being a little bit annoying towards Polison, and instead I think they might try to secure the bottom tier 2 tower.
Yeah, they could clump back for it, and they've got the Leshrac, they've got the TV. They're more than satisfied with finding all those kills, though. Like, they don't drop the Zeus, but killing off the Luna is already good enough. Like, he's the big win condition for SMG. You still don't have an item advantage really on the Luna, and your dreams keeping up in farm quite nicely. And once this push gets going from GXR, it can get a bit dicey. Moon did TP in for the defense, is scouted out by the Flare though. So they know there's someone there to defend. They pull back in time. Polison's just gonna toss around the creep wave with his pipe and just kind of do some chip damage with the siege creep, doing a lot of damage with Hellbear as well. And down to 500 HP. The next poke should get that done. The side of SMG, they're inching closer towards a couple more items. The Ags for KP, 2 parts away, 1.5k gold that they've got to wait for. Once that's up, more presence out from him. Not going to have to think too hard about when to use that split. They do have the blink up here on Alacrity, so the Leshrac can kind of bail out with a BKB now. Or follow-up stun on the DK blink if he's out of position and play around with the chain stun potential now. SMG. It feels like with the Aegis down, they do have to play safer again, and I don't think they mind too much with the Luna. They just need to get more on mid 1. Like, he's saving up for the Satanic. It's almost there. That self-dispel could help out a lot, and that, of course, the heal itself is going to be big.
I don't know, it's just the Terrorblade factor though. That's what kind of bothers
Yeah.
me here for mid one. Like it's that reflection, it just destroys your team. And you saw that last team fight. Like if GXR get the jump, they take her down so quick.
Look at that. Both sides get an enchanted quiver as well. Even.
I
No
always get
favorites
upset.
there.
I always get upset when the carries take the enchanted quiver. Give it to the enchantress.
Radiant's bottom tower
Let Paulison have some fun.
Radiant's bottom tower
No fun for
has
sports,
fallen.
Mike. You should know this. Even the pros know
Dire's
this, alright?
structures are
Yeah.
Smoke out from GXR. Top tier 2 is being pushed in by SMG though. So they're going to be able to find that tower. They already lost their bot tier 2, so it's a bit of a trade. Let's see if GXR can catch someone. There is Moon here.
Yep, there is Moon indeed. He's going to jump away though. Alacrity's going to just charge him, however. Just charge him with the BKB and eventually you'll get him. They even found Arfu, but mid one, he might be able to turn now. They're going to try and lock down Alacrity. Jocam, he'll find the Lion. Rogi, he does get taken as Alacrity. He's still on the run. They couldn't kill him off. They're going to buy back on Rogi, but I'm not sure what the buyback's going to amount to. They've lost too much. They can't fight back. Maybe they can defend the mid-tier 2 with the buyback. But it seems like In Your Dream is eventually going to be able to chip away at this.
It's no problems for the Terrorblade. He's got a ton of damage coming out. Only has one ultimate orb, no full Scotty yet, and they forced to fortify. So it's a bit awkward now. If they lose that tier 2 and the high ground opens up with a pick off, no fortify to stall that one out. And Alacrity's all topped up. He's got travels. He's going to be back in that fight if he wants to. Instead, goes back to farming.
Paulison? Oh, we've seen this before. Oh, that actually was a lot of damage, Paulison. He's going to die. The Daedalus crit comes in and just removes 3/4 of his HP. So there you go. They finally have a way of really just removing Paulison from this game. Jocam, he would love a dieback on Rogi right now. He won't go for the hook shot though. I don't think he would have had quite enough damage anyway. And Rogi did have some teammates around just in case he did go for the hook. Still, things are going rather well for GXR again. 2k net worth lead. It's 20-14, but In Your Dream's very close now to that Eye of Skadi. Mid one, he's doing a lot of damage with the Daedalus shards build up, but still TB versus Luna. Still very tough.
Yeah, they've got to jump In Your Dream first. You know, they drafted like 3 heroes to go against the Terrorblade, and they've only really killed IYD twice, which is worrying. Although
Well, they found Paulison. Without mid one here, it's very hard to kill him. He's not going to die no matter what you throw at him. And now they might be able to turn. Mid one, he's going to show up now.
bottom tower is under attack.
Looks like that'll be it. They're not going to try and force a fight.
oh man, it always looks funny when you commit to an enchantress like that. Like Afu throws out Laguna, and
Yeah.
because it's not, of course, an Ags upgraded yet,
Money
it's still
to
magic. So
It's
it
a
does
balance
nothing to
to it.
Paulson.
It's a balance.
Yeah,
hero.
with a pipe, you're just basically unkillable unless 4 heroes jump.
It's got a 43% pub win rate right now, John. Don't let Ice Frog nerf Enchantress again. I need this hero, John. I'm losing too much MMR. Just leave the hero alone.
Yeah, pubs. It's one of those things, right? Like, it takes a very coordinated team to maximize an engine to understand why you're 0 to 5 on Paulson. Right? In any other pub, you'd be flamed to hell, but in a pro team, in a pro game, they understand. Yeah, it's space. It's a lot of space. And Paulson's just always stalling out here. Next Roshan, we'll see in about a second as to how long the respawn is. It is a longer one, 2 minutes, 25 seconds. So neither side going to be able to play for that objective. As the game holds steady like this, again, SMG is still building up in mid one. He's got 1k gold advantage. Needs more, but it is ramping up. I just worry about the scaling of everyone else. Zeus, probably not going to keep that scalability into the late game until the Ag starts flying out. Brewmaster, oh,
We found-
speaking, KP.
Yeah, KP. He's got the primal split up. He will be able to get off in time. They couldn't take him down. In fact, In Your Dream now going to go after Arfu instead. Hookshot is off the mark again from Jocam. It won't matter though if they can break the gap as Jocam now. He's got the cogs out. He'll push mid one back, but the Eclipse is going to be there. In Your Dream. He can't get the Sunder off in time. It works against them. Alacrity is still going to show up, but he needs to get the hell out. Meanwhile, on the backside, Mizu is trying to deal with KP's Brewlings. Alacrity, he's back in after mid one. The stun does connect. Maybe they still get the Luna, and they do. They lost in your dream, but it still works out. Fu, he's not out of hot water either. He needs to run. Alacrity, though, is on the chase. Looks like they have got the leaner into KP now. No primal split charges left. Looks like he is set to fall to boot. It still ends up being a 4-for-2 trade. And that's without the Terrorblade.
Yeah, it looked super awkward. In your dream had to pop his BKB very early in the fight. But the magic of this lineup is, even without Terrorblade, you push high ground fast because you've got Leshrac, you've got DK. No Dragon form though, but just the Edict alone is going to be enough to take out this mid-tier tree. Probably even just take a Rax. Like Zeus, without Ags, it can still defend. It's not as annoying. And eventually GXR should just get control here. They might need the next creep wave to come up soon, but there's nothing cutting it off. So nice Rax coming out for GXR. Next Roshan in about half a minute. That's going to line up quite well for them. They could just wait for the next Roshan, go in the pit, take all that Roshan will give them. And SMG, they need to still keep playing this farm game. They still need an item advantage on Luna. They need more to come out from Moon. He's got the Octarine up, and looks like he's saving up for the Bloodstone next, but it's not quite enough. Again, once you're thinking about high ground defense with a Zeus, what really comes to mind is the Ags, and Moon's nowhere near going for that build-up. He's still focusing on the fights, focusing on sustain, focusing on the spell spam, which is great. But as soon as some of these objectives drop, especially the top lane, once you lose your tier 1, tier 2, you will need a high ground hold to come out from the Zeus.
SMG 10k behind it. It's a very hard scenario now for them. GXR. They must know that they've got that pretty big advantage now. In your dream, I mean, that last team fight. Oh, never mind who they found. It's gonna be Rogi. Down on the line. Hook shot off the mark. It's gonna hit the neutral creep, and that means KP's gonna be okay. He'll back out. But the Roshan is open now. GXR, they have first dibs, and even without the metamorphosis, it really just doesn't take any time at all.
Yeah, it's gonna be quick. They've got enough damage with Alacrity and Mizu around. That's going to be Aegis, Cheese, Ag Chart, and Rush number 2. And that should be a fairly nice Ag Chart to give towards Alacrity, and they do. So you've got the Split Earth again, being a massive nuisance for the follow-up stuns. Top lane going to melt, top tier 1 gone. They could go for the top tier 2 next, and really shut down the map. And this is where it swings back to the build-up in Moon. Like, he does not have Ags. The Nimbus would just help stall out these pushes. Still a long ways off. I'm not even sure if he's going to have time to queue that up after this Bloodstone. The side of SMG do have the Satanic up in mid one. So they have some fighting tool for the Luna to sustain herself with, even into the Scotty. It does feel like the Satanic active is still strong enough to sustain, especially if you get Daedalus crit. So you're relying on that. But the map has shrunk for SMG. No outer towers left. They have to kind of group up when they go outside for the push. Jokam's just kind of playing in between them in the bot lane, though.
Hookshot is there. Jokam, he's on to the Zeus. He needs some help, though, and they jump in now. Alacrity's there with the Shivers Guard. They just blow him up. Fu, he can't escape from this. They've even got the spider legs on Alacrity just to make sure nobody gets away. And now the mid lane, mid one. He must have thought he was safe, but Mizu's there. In your dreams there. He's going to try and pop the Satanic in the Eclipse, but it does nothing. It does nothing, John. They get Rogi as well. This game is looking very over now. There's 3 heroes down with that buyback. GXR, if they realize it, they'll probably try for the tier 4 towers again. There's another buyback, though. It just comes up for Moon. So they might have to settle for another Rax instead. Mizu in, does get mid one. There'll be no follow-up to it. He'll have to back off, but Alacrity won't. He'll go right in. It's a lot of damage on the Leshrac, and they just finger him down. Now GXR, they need to run. They overextend here. Jokam, he's going to be left behind as well, and he'll drop. they found another. They even found Mizzle in the DK. He'll be the third. And so in the end, they do go a bit too deep, and they get punished immediately by SMG.
Yeah, good defense coming out from SMG. They still lose a lane of racks, and they had to commit 2 buybacks, but they stall out any further excursions here from GXR. GXR gonna have to take a step back, maybe just farm up, prevent themselves from losing too many objectives off the back of it. They do have buybacks on Alacrity and JoeCam in case they want to jump back in these fights. Don't really know if it's going to be fully necessary, as it's still a tier 2 mid, tier 2 bot. It will open up a bigger high ground push, but it doesn't feel like it's going to melt fast enough to necessitate. Although,
here we go again. Polison. Can they kill him off this time? Well, they've got Moon around. I think this time they should definitely get through him. Essence Ring, Heal is out, Pipe is there, Polison, he's trying to get himself out. He's not going to make it. It is a lot of commitment, though, to try and kill off this Darn Enchantress. Is now mid one. He's going to go high ground. He's going to really try and punish GXR for that deep dive they made. They might be able to get 1 lane of barracks here. Glyph out. Going to delay things. Now you've got the respawns coming up from GXR. They don't have meta up for another 15 seconds, but in your dream, with the reflections going to try and delay this, it's just not going to be enough. At least 1 Raindrax gone, but now the hook shot's in. JoeCam, he's in by himself, though. Alacrity is in the cogs now. He blinked right in the middle. There's nothing to take him out either. They don't commit too much anyway. It was just the hook shot. So not really too big of a deal here from GXR. And in the end, they lose 1 Raindrax, and that's about it.
yeah, I'd say you're still fairly happy on SMG side. You managed to at least apply some pressure onto GXR. GXR not going to feel too bad. I think In Your Dream has to be a bit ready. There is the butterfly on mid 1, so the evasion he's getting out here is going to be pretty annoying for the physical hits on In Your Dream. But we've seen it a couple of times where it's not In Your Dream killing off mid 1. It's actually still Alacrity on the Lash Rack running up once the... Well, actually, there's not even a BKB on mid 1. He just runs up to mid 1 regardless and melts that here. I think for mid 1's part, he's trying to go for the Hurricane Pike next to just use that item slot with a Dragon Lance. I think you need a BKB. I mean, if you don't get a BKB, Alacrity's damage output will always be good. The control will always land. And once you're locked in, we just see it in a lot of these fights now. Mid 1 just kind of melts if he's not careful. So maybe a protective item could help. He might get enough value from the Pike. Has stalled out long enough that the Aegis expires. SMG doing a good job of kind of stalling this game out. They're just playing around bot lane as it's the lane they've shoved out the most.
Hook shot, oh, that's really on target there from JoeCam. Roger. It's going to probably go down as JoeCam. He just pops his own BKB. Meanwhile, though, Fu is trying to force them back. It may cost him his own life. He's going to try and Spider Legs up to the high ground, but he is completely surrounded now. Well, he'll try for the TP, but the Cogs pushback is there. JoeCam gets a double across the map. That's going to be 2 supports down now. GXR, I mean, it won't take them too long to clear out that bot wave anyway. Not too big of a deal for him.
Yeah, and that's a big set of kills. Even though it's just supports, it cuts off the cores of SMG. They can't really risk going too far forward now. And you are seeing Moon kind of play tag with his smoke, just clearing out the mid creep wave to prevent the push. The bot lane will eventually shove in. There's a massive wave coming out from GXR. Double siege creep, big amount of melee creeps. They can look to recommit mid if they want to. Still risky without the Aegis anymore. They hold on to Cheese, so they can play without on Alacrity, but I think they're going to have to be slightly cautious into the high ground.
Well, it's all about not diving, I think, right? Like, you just don't dive too deep. Hook shot, well, speaking of diving, that one misses. GXR is still very confident. Obviously, mid 1, he doesn't have buyback right now, so if you can catch him out with the stuns, you're going to be happy. But GXR, they're going to back off. They're going to deal with the top wave. It looks like they're not entirely ready, and I think In Your Dream, he may have noticed that the butterfly is now up on the Luna, so he immediately just queues up the MKB. Just not even going to bother trying to go high ground without having that MKB up. You also have the Scythe Device coming up on Alacrity now as well. So you've got some added disable from Alacrity. It's going to make it that much more difficult for this Luna.
Yeah, it's already a tough time. Again, mid one went all in on physical damage output. Nothing to save, except that Satanic Dispel. That's it. Like, no BKB, no Manta for dodging. He's in a risky spot to be caught out.
We'll see if they can blow him up, and they do. He doesn't get anything off. I'll be happy with that. Do you feel like what can mid one buy at this point to make the difference now? Like it just doesn't feel like anything's enough at the moment.
I don't know, like he is fully slotted up. Maybe you could drop the SNY and just go for a BKB instead. See if that helps you against especially the Leshrac. Like I think Alacrity's been one matching mid one because of that lack of BKB. If you do get that up, it helps your cause. It's just that again, ditching the SNY, it feels weird because you lose the stat resist. You lose a lot of good stats just for strength, and it can feel awkward if you really value that stat resist. They will manage to find the last tier 2. Don't really think they can go up for the high ground yet. Next Roshan, 2.5 minutes away. The longer respawn. They do manage to find a big courier kill though. That's a recipe on the refresh on Mizu, so he's not going to have the back-to-back dragon forms. That is going to set him back a bit. He does have buyback gold, despite that, so I don't think you feel too bad for Mizu, at least, in trying to rush that recipe into the build-up. But SMG should be aware of the game plan of GXR now. They're just going to stall out for the next Roche, stall out for that item pickup on Mizu, maybe even that MKB coming through for In Your Dream, which looks to be done. I think it's flying out now. So he's got the damage to go through that evasion, and he's saving up for the Ags next. He might not even need it if he gets a lucky Roshan next.
Yeah. That Roshan's going to be up in 1 minute 42 is who they found. Hookshot is there. Roger's going to be targeted. Meanwhile, mid one was around the area, but they're going to let him go. Who they jumped on next? It's going to be KP. Another hookshot. Trying to lock him down long enough before the primal split. They get him. Fu even getting caught out now. JoeCam, he just catches out 3 different heroes across the map. None of them have buyback.
Yeah, they bought out the Ags on that support. Lena, there's just no gold here. Okay, he bought a refresh. They bought all these items before that engagement. That's going to cost them Megas or just straight up game end.
I mean, JoeCam literally just set up that amazing team fight for GXR, and this might be enough to put a lid on the game. They're going to go for the Megas, though. You're still against the Zeus Luna. They don't want to risk it. You never know. They're just going to play it safe, get the Megas up, and eventually you can go towards those T4 towers if you wish. A lot of damage. Mizu is in. He's got the stuns off on both of them, and now the hookshot again. A great split earth. A Cogs pushback. A secondary hookshot from JoeCam. They have locked him down. There's your buyback from mid one. Moon does have one as well, but he's not going to pop it. You hold out, but you're against Megas now. GXR, they're going to leave the base. No rush for them. You've still got the Ags to farm up on GXR and on In Your Dream, and well, as well as that, Roshan's up in 10 seconds from now. They're going to check a little bit too early, but I'm sure someone will stick around and figure out it's coming up.
Yeah, if it's an Ags, you're not going to need to farm it in Your Dream. If you go in, it is an Ags.
Nice.
So In Your Dream gets a free wish, gets a free Ags upgrade without Terror Wave with a 10-second Metamorphosis. And SMG are not in position to fight in. If they bought back on Zeus, they'd have Thunder Gods to scout here.
They're going to try. Mid one's there. They can't really afford to let this one go, but the Roshan's already gone. Aegis is picked up. Ags is picked up. Hookshots is there. They've got 2 supports again. They're trying to burst down Mizu, and they will get him in time, but Rogi's gone. He'll buy back as well. Mizu will commit his own. JoeCam, he's onto the Luna again. Mid one, he just got nowhere to go. He's going to die. It's a dieback for mid one. KP's trying to run. He'll probably go down here as well. He'll go for another primal split. Meanwhile on the side, another hookshot onto Moon. They found the Zeus. A nice earth spike from Rogi. Is it going to be enough? He will force Staff away, but now you might get a dieback on the Lion. JoeCam, he has been a real nuisance here on this clock. As he gets the rearm going, but he doesn't have the mana for the hookshot. Never mind, now he does. Does he find Moon? Rocket Flare is on target. Hookshot is off the mark, though. Meanwhile, towards KP, his 4th primal split charge has been activated. He is just never ending with this split. And the rest of GXR, they're in the base. They've had enough. They'll ignore KB. In Your Dream gives the tip over.
Radiant's middle tower
And they're onto the tier 4 towers now. The game's over, I'm pretty sure here. So you can't really defend. Mid one has no buyback, and well, they won't call it. But the Ancient is exposed, and GXR, if you're not going to call it, they'll go for the fountain dive right onto Moon. Hook shots there. They'll get the Zeus before the game officially ends.
Yep, they clean up. GXR, a lot of patience in this game. They managed to hold out. They managed to build up in Your Dream. SMG, it looked like they were finding that early burst, right? They had Lina, they had Lion, they had Zeus, Luna, a lot of magic damage to really run down, but they mainly found Paulson. Like, they were catching out the Enchantress, and Paulson went 0-7, 23, so they did a good job of keeping the Ench down. Unfortunately, I don't think the Enchantress was the hero they needed to lock in. It had to be the Terrorblade they were jumping. If not the Terrorblade, then Alacrity's Lush. Itemization also worked against them. Mid 1 never bought BKB. There were like 2-3 big fights where Alacrity would just blink up, run around mid 1 and kill him with his magic damage, because there was no protection on mid 1. They didn't respect that the Leshrac towards late game, if there are no BKBs, then he's still going to do a lot of damage, right? Like, BKB is the big counter along with a pipe. Neither of them came out from SMG. GXR, they managed to go through the day going 4-0. An amazing first day for Galaxy Racer. Unfortunately for SMG, they're going to have to look elsewhere for their first win here in the group stage.
Well, it's coming up, John. They've got a back-to-back series. Unfortunately, it doesn't get much easier. They've got OB Neon coming up. So I don't know if that's an easier or a harder matchup. Do you have any ideas? I mean, compared to GXR, do you favor OB Neon? It's hard to say. They both look very clean as of late. They both came through the close qualifiers for these Pro Series. And SMG, we'll see if they can fix things up. But I've got to tell you, OB Neon, they've been looking very clean. So we'll go to a 15-minute break before our next series, and we'll come back with SMG versus OB Neon game number 1. We'll see you all again very soon.